So it's really a delight to have those two people presenting here, both coming from Mexico. First person is Diego Lozano. He's coming from the University de Monterrey, so that's UDEM as well, Universidad de Monterrey. So really happy that he's presenting here from Mexico. And the other is actually our great colleague, David Gutierrez. He's from my team actually, and they will be presenting together and sharing some personal experiences as well. So guys, with that, the title is Driving Impact, UDEM's Research Strategy and the Role of the Pure System. So, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for staying here and attending this presentation. Thanks, Kun, for the introduction. Yes, I'm David Gutierrez. I'm pure Latin America customer consultant. And today I'm very happy to introduce you and be here with Diego Lozano. This presentation is kind of special for us because we used to work together before I joined Elsevier. We worked for around 5 years. And so today we're going to talk to you about how the university has been making efforts and transforming to have a new research strategy focusing on impact through research and how Pure is supporting this research strategy. So, Diego, please.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. So, where's the clicker? So first of all, for all, if you don't know where is Mexico, Mexico is located at the north of Mexico. We are 2 hours driving from the U.S. We're a big city. We are 7 million people living there. It's a crowded place, and it's a very industrialized city because we are very close to the border. So we have many companies moving today to Monterrey, so that gave us an advantage to work with a lot of kind of industries. This is some pictures of Monterrey. Monterrey is known as the city of mountains. We're all surrounded by mountains, and it's very hot there. About UDEM, UDEM was founded in 1969. It was founded by 5 Catholic organizations, so we are some kind of Catholic. This is our size, to give you some numbers, some idea. We are 20,000 students. We have 20,000 students. We have a big portion in the health science, 6,000. We have a big group on art, architecture, and design, so we're very focused on art. So, and this is interesting. We were coming to research how to address all these artists. And the other ones is business school, 3,000 and 1,500 in engineering. So this is how big or small we are. So we are mainly a teaching university. So we don't have full researchers. We have full-time professors that do some research. So we are moving, I'm going to explain some numbers here. So we are a young university regarding research. In 2015, there was the first research direction. So before that, there were isolated efforts from some professors. So we were kind of young in research. And from that point in 2015, we have the graph on the right is the number of professors that are being nominated to the national research system. So in Mexico, we have, if you apply for a national researcher, you have the title of that. So we went, the strategy in that point, 2015, was we want to make some research, so do something, whatever you want as a professor, start publishing. So we have the strategy in that point was we want to make publications. That was the strategy at that point. And with publications, we had the number of researchers growing. But at 2020, we were like reaching our plateau according to our number of professors. So we made a stop in our path. So say, what we want, really want from research. Do we want to go increasing the number of publications and incentive publications? And for give you an idea, in 2020 we have a new president, and the president came from the industry. He was a former CEO from a company. And all the board of the university, they are businessmen from all these companies that surround the university. So the interesting thing is when we were showing them that we are growing this number of citations in a couple of years with the strategy and the publications. The question they have to me is, this is good? Is good enough? What are we getting about with publications? So we make this stop in what we're doing to analyze what we want. And so this cartoon is where the professors typically live in the university. So we start telling them, start publishing if you can, if you want to maintain your career in the university, your job, right? And then we start moving incentives to high impact journals, first quartile, and so on. And we move that way. And then we want more and more and more from the same people. And at the end, as we are teaching university, they have to have some classes. So it's not possible for us to have only for research. So the professors that had the title of research in Mexico in our university has to give five classes per semester. The normal professors have 5 classes per semester, but the researchers have 3 classes. So they have an amount of time to do research. So at the end, during the pandemic, something interesting occurred. That is, it was difficult for the researchers to keep the research, especially the ones on the hard science that has to go to the labs. And we have most of the projects stopped during the pandemic. And another thing that happened in Mexico is the federal government start banning all the private universities from being supported from the government. And when you are a national researcher, you receive a monthly pay from the government that is equal to 50% or 30% of your wage. So it's quite interesting to be a researcher in Mexico because you get extra money from the government. But in 2021, the federal government decided not to support the private researchers in private universities. So that changed the game for all the private universities in Mexico, because we were like, what is motivating the researchers to keep going? Because they suddenly saw 30 or 50% of the income stopped because of the federal government. So what we saw is the researchers, even though they are passionate for the researcher, they were like unwilling to continue. So we were planning our new strategy, and what we were in that moment, what we were seeing is that we have certain amount of publications, certain amount of projects, but all the researchers are working by their own. So a couple of small groups, but we have a lot of different projects, and the researchers working with other universities, but we want to gather them in a few projects with more impact. So 2 trends that we see, just to frame out, in our Latin American context in Mexico, we are typically focused on the publications yet, no? So we are not driving by impact, so like perhaps in Europe. yet, so we are a couple of years behind. And what we're trying to change in our university with the culture is change the curiosity-driven research to solve problems. We have a lot of problems in our city. We have big city, we have pollution, we have traffic, we have a water shortage, a lot of problems. So we want our researchers to focus on that. And also we are making some efforts to make like the Yesterday World Cafe, to have different researchers. For us, it's easy to have a room like this with all our researchers from all fields. It tried to figure out projects, multidisciplinary projects. So we know each other in the university from different fields, from law, medicine, and so on, because we are few. So basically, the research strategy, our goal is to transcend in society through the development of research projects with high impact. So our goal currently is not going for publication, it's not going for rankings. Our goal is to have an impact in society. And by the way, by doing that, perhaps we can achieve some rankings or be good in publication, but it's not our goal. It's declared. So this is because the vision and mission of the university is to return something to society. Is the reason to be of our university. So we want to focus on we will call it the targeted research. So 5 sustainable development goals, and also below you see art and culture. It's not as SDG, but we have a lot of people doing art and culture in university. So we are going to focus in health, in education, industry, reducing inequalities, in sustainable cities. So we want all our researchers to focus on this sustainable development goal. So where we were and where we want to be. So I was telling you that we are a young university regarding the research. We were mainly doing the first 2 circles, research and publish, research and publish. So when we're talking with the researchers, what's your plan for this year, your project? And the answer was publish 2 papers. They were not talking about the reason of the project. So we are trying to change the metrics. So don't tell me that you're going to have 2 conferences and 3 papers. Tell us what you want to do to contribute to society. So we don't have yet technology to transfer. We have a couple of patents, but it's isolated cases from some researchers. But we want to go all the path with all the researchers. And we have a lot of social science projects. So the social science projects goes to the government, NGOs, and society directly. So we want to have the research be implemented in the society is what we want, and we're trying to motivate. So the challenge, we have a traditional academic culture. We have incentive and rewards that we can of course handle. Collaboration and knowledge transfer is a challenge. Access to resources and funding in Mexico, it's hard to have federal funding access. But we are surrounded by companies, so wealthy companies. So we are working with these companies to fund our research. So what are the research motivators, and how can we motivate them? So we have the intrinsic motivators and the extrinsic motivators. So the intrinsic motivators is they have a passion for the research, for their topic. They want academic autonomy, and they want a certain reputation and personal growth. So we cannot change that because they love what they are studying for the last 10 years. And when you ask, could you move a little bit your research and join other researchers, it's not that easy. But they have also extrinsic motivators that we as a university are changing all politics, and we are having a recognition and some recognition and awards, funded opportunities and job stability and certain benefits for the people that is embracing our strategy and is joining this kind of project. So in this pyramid is the current situation with the academics is, first of all, they are interested in the academic survival. They want to keep the job, right? And the job being a researcher. Then there is the identity, which is everyone is interested in having a citation, a name in this kind of business, right? And at the end, it's the social impact. So what we want to do is, it's possible to invert the pyramid, that we release some pressure on the academics, on the academic survival. So don't worry about your publications. I mean, you have to publish, of course, but you don't have to publish 30 articles in 3 years. If you publish a reasonable amount, like 3 or 4 articles, you're fine. But focus more on the project and the other steps on transferring the knowledge is what we want to do. So we run an example, and we have like a professor that published 37 articles in 3 years, but we are not seeing the impact of that publication. So we don't want just publish to have a metric. So we are kind of trying to release this. And we were talking with the researchers. They are very happy with this approach because they feel that they don't have certain kind of pressure doing that. So we have the motivation and recognition and the financial. So we basically, what they did in the last year is we made an incentive scheme with the certain points, and we gave just 25 points for the publications, and we are giving points for the prizes as students for this kind of projects in the Sustainable Development Goals, the 25 points for getting external funding and knowledge transfer. And this gives them a category of research in the university and gives them benefits. And benefits are economical, are time for there. And to give you an idea, to have the 25 in publications, we are only asking currently 2 articles in 3 years, right? Because 2 articles first quartile, or could be like 5 articles in other quartiles. But the idea here is we want to balance, we want to keep publishing to have accreditations, but we don't want to be driven by the rankings and to just publish and publish. And to doing this, David is gonna share some comments on how we are doing in Pure.
Okay. Yeah, so this incentive program was designed to support all the elements that were important for the research strategy. So as you can see, the idea is that a researcher could get points through a variety of results and activities. So for example, in publications, either if they have articles, chapters, books, conference proceedings, they could get points. But there was just a differentiation depending on the type or depending on the contribution. And it is pretty much the same for the rest of the criteria. And all this information can be stored in Pure. So after this was designed, one of the first activities was to identify the content types in Pure, where this information was going to be stored. So for some of them, like publications and prices, it was pretty straightforward. We have research outputs and prices, content types. But for students, we can find students involved in research in different content types, like as authors or co-authors in research outputs, as participants in projects, and also in student thesis. And another one that I will want to point out is external funding. The university was also considering here consultancy income because there were some very good researchers that were also attracting income through consultancy projects. So this was a way to give them credit so they can keep working, as this also benefits the university, and it's also some knowledge transfer activities. And actually that's the next one. This one is new for the university and very interesting because as we cannot guarantee that every research project is going to end with an impact, the idea is to focus on knowledge transfer so we can get to other non-academic stakeholders and increase the probability of impact. So, and that is something that the university could promote and keep record. So in this case, we can find knowledge transfer in activities content type, press, media, and on impact. And here are, like, in a very general way, the steps that we follow to do this. The first one is the one that we already talked about. It's about identifying the types and subtypes in peer. The next one is about using keywords to easily identify data and filter data. We know that keywords is a very good way to customize peer, to add more information there, and this facilitates the process to the peer administrators. The next one is about defining a process. It's like who is going to add these keywords, how these keywords are going to get there. And then we created some reports because we needed to take this information out of peer for the next steps, for the calculation of points and to work on this incentive program. The next one is about preparing data. We realized that there were some things that we needed to create in peer. For example, we had a lot of students that were not properly identified. They were like external persons. So we started like preparing all the information, create the students, import student theses, the consultancy projects as awards. And then we started to make the whole process now testing with real data, with a sample of researchers, and to get to the final step that it is now to create guidelines for the researchers so they can know exactly what they have to do to participate on this incentive program. And okay, this is like what we can expect with this in the following years with this incentive program. As now the researchers are more motivated to add more information and to report to the university all the things that they are doing, we can have a more complete landscape about what is happening in research activities. And of course, this can help also visibility metrics in the portal. But we can also see, well, expect an increase in students' participation and funding and knowledge exchange activities. And the last one is very important because, as Diego was mentioning, it's about a cultural change. We don't want the researchers to just be thinking on the article as the final result, so they can start thinking how they are going to transfer this knowledge, how they are going to get an impact. So they can, since the beginning of a project, to start planning the impact.
So at the end, we want to change the culture to not finish the research with an article. That is not the finish of the research. So we want the knowledge transfer at the end. So we are encouraging the researchers to have an impact plan prior to start the project. Impact plan and how you plan to transfer that, no? So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. A very interesting presentation, I have to say. So thank you very much, Diego and David as well. I've been talking to a lot of universities, actually, where on the one hand side, they want to respect the passion and the expertise that a researcher has. On the other hand, they would like to move them in a certain direction as well. And it's not so easy to make that work, actually. And I think this is an excellent, an elegant system as well to stimulate on top of their basic responsibilities to move in a certain direction that you really like. And I like that a lot. So any questions from the audience? Any remarks? Let me go first.
Thanks. Oh, sorry. So thank you. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm extremely jealous that in a way you guys have been forced in a way into going in this direction, but I think it's great. And I think in Europe and certainly in the UK, we're still very much under the pressure to publish a lot. Impact is growing in importance, but it's really nice to see that your research is now being driven by what impact that you can get from it. So I guess the question that I've got is, are you seeing this mentality, this approach now being transferred to the students that the university is teaching, and are they picking up on that and thinking about using that as their driver in their future career?
Yes, very good question, completely. We have certain programs with the students. We have a special group that is called Drivers of Change. So we have a cohort every year that is focused on social impact projects, and they don't have to publish anything. So, but they have to make an implementation on certain vulnerable zones around the university. We're in a very industrialized zone, and also besides the university, there are vulnerable zones. So we work a lot with them. So, yep. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Diego. So University of Monterrey is private Catholic, basically it's private university, right? Do
Correct.
you think that this would work or do you see this happening at any of the other government operated universities in Mexico?
Well, since in the national researchers or the institute, the metrics are mainly publications. So all the researchers in Mexico that wants to belong to the national researchers are driven by that kind of metrics, so publications. Nevertheless, the federal government is only funding the projects that had impact on the real problems or the main projects of Mexico. So the federal government is quite of a line, even though they are not financing any private university. Mm-hmm. There are common ideas on that regard.
Okay. So the selection of funded projects is,
yep.
It has to have a social impact, but whether the research had a social impact is not really part of the incentive scheme yet, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.